Welcome to another episode of TDB 585. 4-digit gang is back in the house. 1999 7542 to 1997 7572.
Good luck with that. Yeah. Pretty honestly, hard to do. Sleep deprived. Remembering all the numbers.
Is it? Okay. There's a lot of you can sort of tell who has dyslexia type. I don't even know if that's the right word. Brain on stuff how they handle acronyms and stuff.
Yeah.
You see a lot of because it's that correct acronym is XZH. You see a lot of XHZ and BHY instead of BUIH and stuff. It drives me crazy because I get it correct most of the time, but
I probably don't.
No, I think you're generally okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I definitely see some common offenders that have been drinking tea and making the exact same abbreviation mistakes for a decade.
It's funny.
So
yeah.
Anyways.
Classic recipe, old material.
Yep, right.
Looking forward to this. Ripe, of course. And this was acquired by Quiche,
Yeah, who I think just sells samples of this.
Yep.
And it's well, I'm curious about this, and I'm especially curious what Denny will think.
Yeah, thank you for doing it. I was going to buy it myself and mention it to James, and James was I have some of this already. So,
yep.
Yay. And this is not a cheap tea. For a ripe, this is quite expensive, over $1 a gram.
Yep.
But you know what? For a treat, it's great. Wow, it is so dark. Oh, man.
And I think I've had this once or twice. And I like it more than the 8592 that we drank, the 94.
Yeah. Try some at home. Man, smells old. Smells dank.
Yeah.
And it's pitch black.
So I know 7572 is part of your regular ripe rotation, correct?
Yep, 2010 version.
Right, so, which is one of the reasons I also wanted to drink this with you, because it's been a while since I regularly drank a 7572, so I can't say it's a recipe I'm very familiar with currently.
Yeah, this definitely smells quite a bit different.
Okay. Yeah.
That's quite a cherry wood forward drink, ripe in my opinion.
Okay.
And it's lovely, balanced, it's classic brown sugar, but this smells quite a bit. We were talking with Anji yesterday about pencil shavings. Getting some pencil shavings on this. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Where do you place it as far as your favored dye ripe recipes?
Probably.
You like it more than the 8592, from what I could tell.
I was actually going to say that I think I like the 8592 2012 version even more than the 2010 7572.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that one.
Okay.
It has a maple character to it that I really, really like.
Okay.
So it's pretty close. I'd probably say those two, and then the bottom break would be the third.
Okay.
Although, man, the Jaji is quite nice.
I like the Jaji quite a bit.
Yeah. So I'm still getting familiar with that one, but man, it's all good. I mean, the thing that's kind of not a bummer, but is the case is maybe the Jaji is probably the most unique of those teas in general. They all overlap quite a bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, get in here.
Yeah, get in there.
Oh my god, it's crazy. It's pitch black.
Yeah. So I think that this might be the most standard of the standard recipes. So sort of like the 7542 equivalent.
For sure.
They seem to make it just about every year.
Yeah.
So let's dig in.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's shockingly sweet.
We're also going from
that's true.
an admittedly sort of old 7542 to this, but yeah.
So clean. Crazy. Man, crazy. I was expecting a bit of a danker character on this. I mean, it's still quite earthy, but it's not composty or anything like that.
Sure. Are we in the garden yet, or no? Got
I think
a foot
we're
out.
gonna get there.
Yeah. We just grabbed our garden shears. We're heading out the door.
And to your point earlier about 7572, excuse me, being the kind of default tea to recommend, I would agree entirely. I think it's probably the first ripe I would recommend. Basically, anyone have?
Yeah, personally, I would recommend it above the 8592. I've always
same.
found 8592 a little dull for my own taste.
Sure, fair enough. Yeah. And I think at that point, then it's really once you have a good breadth of or understanding of all the different teas, then you pick your preferences.
Yeah, and if you're a duller, go ahead pick the 8592. If you're not, then maybe pick something else.
Screenshot that.
Just hating. I just alienated all the 8592 enjoyers. Oh, yeah.
Dude, look at how much darker that is.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay, there we go. I think we're getting into it now.
Yeah. And I'm definitely doing... I mean, I think something like this is much easier to brew than the 7542 from last episode.
Yeah.
You can just lean on this.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not going to really bite back.
Yeah,
this is an old ripe, so, I mean, it's... yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, much more pencil shavings now.
Oh, yeah. Take a smell of that, too.
All right.
I love... So for me, at least,
Ooh.
I initially got into Pura, and, like, ripe was something that's very casual, just generally.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd kind of written it off as, like, category as, like, I don't care as much about age. And I definitely don't care as much about age as I do for raw. But I do think that some of the age ripes do bring something to the table that the younger raws don't.
I think
Or the younger ripes don't.
Yeah. I kind of think of them as like 3 different buckets.
Yeah.
It's like really young ripe, avoid. Just to avoid it. Just,
Yeah. And you're talking like, what, 2 years or younger?
Yeah, even 5 years or younger. Just don't drink it. It's just so much cheaper to buy age on ripe.
Yeah.
Right? It's like an extra $5 for a cake or something like that. It's just not worth...
So don't be a cheap bastard.
Yeah, honestly. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Just get half a cake and drink something a little bit better. There's no point. Maybe if it's a brand new recipe, sure, whatever. But so I think of that. So what I would sort of aim for, the first big chunk that I'd be drinking would be in the early 2010s.
Early 2010s, not...
Ideally.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, if you can get it, and it's pretty easy to get that tea.
Yeah, I mean, quiche.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
And then something like this, where it's like, okay, you're in like early 90s, and it's categorically different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about like stuff kind of in between, like 2005 Xiaofa, stuff like that?
I think you can definitely notice the difference between the 2005 and 2012 Xiaofas for sure. But I think they're different enough that I do reach for them at different points based on my preferences. But even then,
Yeah.
they're still sort of similar.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Some resemblance.
Look at this. Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. And we got a 95 Xiaofa coming to us, so that should be interesting.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. Like,
I think Denny just got the frisson.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
the beat just dropped. You're just going.
I know. Going wild in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm getting a lot of like the sassafras, kind of like root beer, barky kind of character of this. It's like birch, but like really, like fermented and deep. Oh, damn, this is great. Not noticing any cherry wood on this.
Yeah, does it resemble?
Honestly, I was thinking about it. Like, I don't know. I mean, if I had to do this blind, I'd be pretty hard pressed to figure it out. I think the sweetness of it feels very dyed to me, but that's about it.
I think it's pretty different as well from the Jaji tool, the 2003.
Very much agree.
Yeah.
This has a bit more funk.
Yeah, it's darker. I mean, like, yeah, it feels like it maybe saw some humidity early in its life.
Yeah. And just by looking at the leaf itself, I mean, the leaf is insanely dark. It's pitch black. Oh, yeah. Love it. This is nice. I will say that, yes, you can push these teas and really nail them, but a tea like this, it can get not sour, but just you don't want it to be so dark that you're missing some of the lighter characters of this tea.
Yeah.
Especially for something a little bit more expensive and priced like this. So, yum. Cheerio.
Cheers.
So sweet.
Pretty consistent steep in, steep
agree.
out.
Yeah,
I
I
get a little bit of that kind of sticky rice texture here. Just a little bit of syrup texture to this.
You get any minerals on this or anything like that?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
But it's not like tobacco leaf or anything like that.
No.
Or even like leathery, I'd say. Probably not.
No, not quite. Yeah.
It reminds me slightly of like the kind of deeper end of a Wui tea.
Okay, so some of those minerals. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna push this one. See what we can get.
Cool. And to your point, not as dynamic, obviously, as the last session we had, but this tea doesn't need to be changing steep by steep, increasing in volume, leveling out a little bit, creating a bit more space for some of the brighter notes to shine. But in general, I don't need a ripe like this, even a fancy ripe, to be blow my mind like that. we've had a couple of ripes on the show that have been wild, and they're so strong that they do ebb and flow. And shout out to Andrew. I feel like every ripe that I get from him, they're just freaking weird, and I love it.
Yeah, in that sense, in contrast, this is very much conventional, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This tastes like a factory tea to me.
Yeah.
I'm noticing a little bit of the garden patch character on this now, slightly. Just some like maybe root vegetable or something, kind of like even like potato skin has a bit of like a kind of a green bite to it. But this isn't like starchy or anything like that. Nice, good and dark. So for a ripe like this, where it's not going to be I'm assuming your morning brew.
No.
Right. How would you fit this into a tea day?
Yeah, I mean, I think it fits into kind of a category of tea for me, where it's like I'll either enjoy it with someone like you, or it fits into kind of like this post-fermented category of tea where it's like more aged teas, ripes, like nicer ones, where they're just really nice session cappers. Where it's like okay, we're done with the session. Most of like the teas we're going to focus on. Let's just drink something nice, old, and easy.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what this falls into. So it's like, if we had time for another tea with Hanji yesterday, we would have done something like this.
Yeah, nice.
So like an older, good tea that's pretty enjoyable, but isn't overly fussy or anything like that.
You're still focused on the session, but you're not obsessed with performance at the end of the session.
Exactly. So, just a very easygoing, but in kind of a nicer way than like a normal ripe.
Cheers. This is about as close as Dai gets to the 7581, I think, for me.
Oh, interesting.
It really gets to that kind of close to that pencil shaving thing. That tea is so much weaker in comparison to this.
Yeah.
This has so much bigger body.
This doesn't have that same fruit that you sometimes get with the 758 ones, like that kind of red date character to it. Yeah,
a lot of base on this.
Yeah. Did you ever get any of the cherry wood?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of past that at this point. It's a bit more of a... For me, there's a little hint of a sourness into this that maybe you could call that cherry wood. It's not quite citrusy, but
do you think it had cherry wood?
Actually. I think so. Because the wood character of this isn't particularly... Yeah, it's not like birchy. I think it's kind of gone past it again to a bit more of like the root character, sassafras and like bark. Really, this is... You can taste the age on this, I think.
Yeah.
I'd say... I mean, would you be able, do you think, blind to guess that this is an older ripe?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, there's always the issue where you could mistake something with older with just something that's been stored semi-wet.
Sure.
So it's like if Eon stored a tea wet for like 7 years.
Right.
It might taste kind of old.
Yeah. Although it might be a bit more sour than this.
Yeah. Why don't we do one last one?
Sounds good.
Mom test?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit too strong.
Leslie test?
Yes.
Okay.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah.
Wartime test.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Something you serve around the table where you don't need to talk about the flavor notes while you're planning the war.
Exactly. Moving your little figurines, your little chariot things around the world map, planning, scheming.
Or in this case, Paw Patrol.
Yeah. Chase! God, fuck. Get it out of my head. Oh my God. Have a newborn or have like a young kid and you're just going to have theme songs from Nickelodeon stuck in your brain. Good times. Man, nice, yeah. Unlike the 7542, this is not lacking, but it's just not nearly as dynamic. It's not like you're sitting around and noticing how it's changing so much.
Right. So this tea would be kind of an odd highlight to have of a session in that sense. Yeah. Even though it is nice and all and stuff, it's just, I don't know how much there's to glean.
This isn't one for me that I would be looking to get more than a sample of.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's great. It's a fun session, but to your point, you can kind of get into a similar flavor category for. It's not gonna be as good, but for much cheaper with the 7581 or some Eon.
Yes, Eon teas for sure. Yeah.
So, but still really nice, and definitely, I would have had you not had, I would have bought it as well. So appreciate the.
Of course, yeah.
Appreciate it, bruh. Yeah, nice. Pretty relaxing for me, honestly, especially compared to the last session, which was so lively and kind of intense. This is not. It's not. I mean, I think had we not had the 7.542 beforehand, it probably would be a little.
Yeah, this
stronger.
tastes just very clean, very easy. The aftertaste is not nearly as tense, but it actually does have pretty good aftertaste for a rye.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yep. It is dark. The dry leaf is dark as heck too, and pretty loosely compressed. Oh yeah. Camphor? Do you get kind of medicinal vibes on this?
Not really.
Yeah.
I've heard that camphor isn't really in ripes so much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's something like the sourness on this is kind of interesting to me. I'm trying to figure out how to place it.
Interesting. Pay attention.
Cheers. Maybe it's ginseng I'm thinking of.
I could definitely get some ginseng. Yeah. It's not as heavy in it as like some yuan teas.
No.
It has some like vanilla cream, ginseng.
Yeah.
I do like my ripes a little bit wet stored too. I think it adds a kind of certain element of character to them.
And I think it just makes them a bit more expansive.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, if you had the money, I mean, you could drink this every morning. I don't see why not. I mean, it's an easy enough profile.
It's honestly
just kind of a waste. Yeah.
Probably cheaper than Starbucks. Sad, but true.
I actually don't know if it is.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe
Starbucks are getting expensive these days.
Maybe if you go to town on Starbucks.
Everyone gets their half. I don't even can't
I
make out a
don't
Starbucks drink at this point.
Sure.
Well, thanks, bruh.
Yeah.
Get this at Quiche Teas. Let's get a sample. They come and go, but it's definitely worth picking up, especially if you haven't had the Yeon taste. Although, again, if you want to get into that kind of character, probably Yeon's going to be the cheapest place to do it. A little bit tough right now, I think. I don't know. I haven't checked tariff stuff, but
yeah, no, you cannot buy, but there are ways to get Yeon right now.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. And then
explore the back channels. Friends.
Exactly. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Click all the buttons, and until next time.
Wu-Tang.